Hi there and welcome back to Tripplikit, and today we're going to look at a problem I have in here which sort of mildly annoys me, but something that mildly annoys you day after day becomes a bit more annoying. So anyway, we're going to have a look at it, something different to do as well, and that is the problem, get to the point, the problem is of mains hum on the audio and noise as well. Now up to this point what you've been listening to is my voice recorded onto the camera, but from here you're hearing my voice recorded on this microphone, which is the one I use when I am recording onto the screen and anything else, well, when I'm not got the camera going. And this microphone goes into this little mixer. You can see the lights blinking as I'm talking, and from there it goes into sorry for the hand cam here, my little USB audio interface, microphone, and then into the computer. And I've already had one go at getting rid of hum on the audio output, and the audio output comes out of here via that lead, which is an optical lead, hence it's isolating the ground, to that which turns the optical in into audio via that mixer, and the amplifier which lurks under there and into the speakers. And that, well, it still hums a fraction, but it's livable with. I also have two big USB hubs, one here, not sure what all these actually go to, and one lurking around the back of the laptop. Can you see it there? Which has mouse and keyboard and printer and external hard drive and the audio interface on. And I thought, well, all these USB grounds are connected together, and is all the audio then connected to all the USB ground, and is it just a mess? So before we decide what we're going to earth to what, we need to know what earths are connected to what, and where, and why, and wherefore. Confused already? So we have three earths or grounds we need to consider. There is the mains earth, there is what we'll call computer ground, which is the USB and probably the HDMI, and there's audio ground. And firstly we'll see what's connected to what. We don't need to worry about things like the mouse because it's only connected to one ground, and we're trying to eliminate ground loops. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. So what have we got that's grounded? Or possibly grounded in more than one place? Well, we've got the computer, we've got the monitor, we've got the printer, cassette deck's not connected, we've got one mixer, we've got two mixer, we've got the audio interface, we've got glass of squash in the way, a USB hub there, and there's another USB hub lurking behind the computer which is exactly the same type. And I think that's it. We'll let you know if I come up with any more. Right, this rather confusingly red lead is connected to ground on the 10 which is connected to mains ground, and I've checked that is shorted to mains ground. So let us first have a look at our computer and see how the grounds are connected on that. Okay, well, what about the computer? So it isn't connected to anything now. This USB wire is just finishes up in this, so I can measure to the computer USB ground. First, an interesting thing. Where's me? Right, this red ground wire. It's definitely not in shot, so you're going to have to take my word for it. I've got one probe on that, like that, and if we put the other probe on that, exactly 1 mega between what I presume is the negative, or is it, I don't know, it might be an AC power unit, I do not know, but it's exactly 1 mega between that and mains ground. However, even if we plug that in, we get, again my probe is on mains ground, one mega ohm between computer USB ground and mains ground. Exactly 1 mega ohm. Okay, we will write that in on our sheet. What we'll call USB to mains 1 meg. Right, so let us now look at the monitor. The monitor should have HDMI cable somewhere, which I've lost. There it is. So I'm assuming the HDMI connector outer is ground and it's connected to the ground of the monitor. Yeah, we're good there. Now again, out of shot probe on the mains ground. Oh, okay, whoops. Well, I'm going to call that 10 ohms, but it's all over the place. I'm interested to know why it bounces about so much. But the monitor, well, I'll call that the USB ground to mains, 10 ohms. And if we plug this back into here, get it in the right socket, the right way up, and don't push it all the way in. Oh, come on, is that one? Sure. It is. If I push my probe down to it, that one there and that one there. Yeah, so both of those are at USB stroke computer ground. Okay, the printer. That will be USB mains right, so this nice clear plugged USB is the printer. So again, in the other end on the right, that's just my resistance around me. Right, the printer is isolated We should put infinity in there. Right. Oh, we're looking in the right direction. Waste of. So the mixer, I have to hold that. There's no USB obviously, and I will disconnect all the connections, or both the connections, and other end of this other probe is to mains ground. Right, we conclude the mixer is not mains grounded. I suppose that makes sense, because otherwise you would get ground loops. Well, okay, so the mixer is audio to mains, and it is infinity. So, grab my audio interface. This one obviously not connected to right, this one is obviously not connected to mains ground because it's USB to audio. Just to confirm, yep, the USB ground is connected to the audio ground. Half an ohm, call that half an ohm. Clank. So that's audio USB 0.5R. So one of these USB hubs whoops, which is powered. It's powered. Now this is going to be a switch mode isolated from ground, so this will not, I am pretty confident, be in any way connected to the mains ground. So the USB hub will be USB mains at infinity. Be mains at infinity. Ah, I have thought of something else. Audio amplifier. That will be audio to mains and right, the audio amp to mains is infinity. This is another switch mode power supply, and rather than trying to poke the camera into that dark corner, you're just going to have to take my word for it. So let us see where we're at now. Right, I have taken the power amplifier. Well, the power amplifier is running from the mixer, and these are the two inputs from the D2A, whichever flavour I'm connecting to, formerly the optical converter, and hopefully at the end of this little exercise the D2A USB D2A audio box. Anyway, they're connected together, so just to keep them quiet. And, well, possibly in the camera, possibly you can't hear. There is a little bit of hum, which there shouldn't. Well, the whole thing, audio system, should now be isolated. If I take a probe which is connected to mains ground over here and ground the ground of the mixer and hence the amplifier, we get hum. Quite a lot of hum. And we know from our investigations that if we take the audio interface right, here we have the audio interface, output of the audio interface connected to the input of the mixer and hence the amplifier, and if we plug that in we get hum, which is strange since there shouldn't be a hum loop. This should be the only place this is grounded. And we checked the audio ground at the amplifier, that is isolated from mains ground, but, and you understand I did quite a lot of digging about to discover this off camera, because otherwise we would have hours of me going So we have ohms here, one end connected to ground over there and the other end to here. We get 48k, and after a lot of head scratching I actually thought, is that actually a real resistance? So I flicked at a volts, and that's AC volts, and we get 90 volts. Okay, now this is the power supply I'm using to power the super battery charger, which is very similar to the one that I'm using to power the power amplifier, and it has a plastic earth pin, so it can't possibly have any connection to mains ground. But it turns out, I shall plug this in over here, that this also has 90 some volts, 91 volts in this case, between the ground. It's 0 volts and actual mains earth. So it seems the problem is with the power supply I'm using for the power amplifier. I mean, these things are just designed to power LEDs really, so LED lights, so it's not going to make any difference. They're still going to power the lights. So what should we try now? Okay, excuse the ever-increasing spaghetti in here, but I've powered up the 10 mAh and set it to 18 volts, and via some more spaghetti we have a plug with 18 volts on it. So I'm now going to plug that into the power amplifier and see if that gets rid of the hum. Okay, here we go. Sorry about working in this back corner here. The original power supply for the power amplifier doesn't have a very long lead on it. So let's try The Tenma. Silence. Okay, so let's see if we now have any silly voltages between ground 1. And that's with everything on the audio side supposedly isolated from ground, but 1 volt's a bit nearer the mark. So now let us plug the audio interface in. The lights come on, and just a tiny bit of hum, and I believe that is actually coming from the Tenma, just mechanical vibration. Okay, so we want an isolated, properly isolated supply. I'm not switched mode, something with a transformer in it. So I bought, I'll get into it, a mains adapter. Oh, yep, that's got a transformer in. It's heavy, and it is model B238. No use of serviceable components inside. Yeah, right. And it's by EMS Manufacturing Limited of High Wycombe. Okay, and here we have the website, government website for the registration of companies, and here is EMS High Wycombe Limited, dissolved the 30th of March 2010. So this is not going to be a new unit, and it says last accounts made up 30th of September 2007. So I am guessing that was their last time they actually did anything. So what are we going to do? Well, I think despite what it says on the label, I'm going to have a look inside. But actually just plug it in and see what happens. And yeah, I know, it's probably been better to buy a transformer and a bridge rectifier and a capacitor and a box and make up my own. We're going to try this for now. Bit of fun if nothing else. Okay, we're recording. We are recording. Right, let's see what voltage comes out of it. Excuse me, I'm going to reach over to the mains. 30 volts, no load. I'll take that as being reasonable. So if I now turn the power off, it seems to die pretty quickly. So, I'm guessing if there's an electrolytic in it, it's probably not going to be very good anymore. Anyway, let's just whip it apart and see what's in there. Right. So there we go, nice big beefy transformer. And is this going to come out of this? Electrolytic capacitor, probably suspect. There's a light on the front, isn't there? Fuse. Nice FR4 board. Single-sided. The earth just seems to go around here to sort of provide some kind of a barrier between the mains and the low voltage, so that should be okay. Got 4 beefy rectifier diodes. So that's the AC, which goes via these 2 orange wires, the fuse into these 4 rectifier diodes, so that's plus and minus. Yep. And then there's a resistor across it, which is why the capacitor discharged quickly, and a resistor to there, and those 2 wires are an LED. And that's it. Well, okay. 2 grommets stuck down to support the circuit board. Why not? Why not? Okay, was just gonna plug it in and see how it went, but I don't want to blow my speakers up. Not so fussed about the amplifier because it's cheaper module, so I am going to disconnect the 12 volts from the amplifier and grab the meter lead. It's turned off over there, so let's connect it up. Oh, plugs go together. That's good. That's a good start. We're on volts DC. Hope you can see the meter. Not a lot. Right. Here we go. Turning it on. Well, no smoke. So let us... Ooh, the LED comes on as well. The input voltage is 30 volts. Now check the regulator should take 35, so we should be okay. And there's the orange, the output. 12.08 volts. Okay. Let's screw her in. .08 volts. I am liking it. So let's just load up some kind of noise. There we go. Liking it. So we can cut that. Right, can't hear any hum. I mean, there's fans and disc drives whirring away in here. So I think we are good. So this will all go back in its bit in the corner where it normally lives. Well, bit of a strange one this in video terms. I was originally thinking it must have been an earth loop problem, so I was going to try and cure it using this little guy, which is a USB isolator. Very clever. So I've got to find a use for that now, because it seemed it was actually, the problem was caused by using cheap switch mode power supplies. So the minute I went over to using a good old-fashioned transformer and rectifier and capacitor, it's fine, there's still a little hum. You can just hear it if you put your ear right next to the speaker, but it'll do for now. And it also seems to have cured pretty much the problem of hum being picked up by the microphone, or hum getting on the audio from the microphone. But again, there's still a little bit there, but I started this video because there was quite an audible buzz on audio recorded from my microphone on the desk. That was an interesting little investigation into power supplies in the end, and I bought an interesting power supply from, shall we say, the past. New old stock, I believe they call it. But yeah, it's all working fine, so and that was just a little, I like to do some little videos of sort of odds and sods, odd things, and that was one of them. So for now, it's goodbye from Tripplikit. Goodbye.